Welcome to the BeaconWay podcast, where your hosts, Jennifer Christensen and Adrian Wilkerson, talk shop about what really works in today's digital marketing world. As the co-founders of Beacon Media and Marketing, Jennifer and Adrian have been a part of digital marketing since its early stages in the mid-2000s. Tune in as they shine light on what works and what doesn't in the ever-changing world of digital marketing for small businesses.
Welcome back to the BeaconWay podcast. Thank you so much for all of you that have been joining. We've had a lot of new listeners lately. So really excited to talk about something that we've incorporated at Beacon, which is benchmarks through Databox. And I've got Fedor here. And how do I say your last name, Fedor?
Oh, that's a tough one. It's Šimić. Yeah.
Okay, see, I knew I would have blown that. So I'm really glad that you corrected that. So I think we've been working together for about 6 months. You've worked with Emily and our team. You've been absolutely fantastic. How long have you been with Databox?
Oh, it's going to be 3 years this year in October. Yeah. I've moved through every almost role in Databox, from support to onboarding to account management, now to partnership manager.
Yeah.
It's been quite a ride.
Is this your favorite so far that you've been doing?
Yeah, honestly, it nails all the areas I'm good at. I really like what I'm doing here. It's not boring. I've always struggled with being bored after a certain period of time, but this just hits every mark, honestly. No, not a dull moment.
Yeah, you're dealing with business owners, right? We are all different for sure. Yep. And unique individuals. Business owners are my favorite. They're, again, never boring, never a dull moment. So what really drew us to Databox, and I know a lot of other businesses, a lot of other agencies, is your benchmarking program.
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell our listeners just a little bit about that so we can have context of what we're going to talk about today?
Of course. So we've actually developed probably maybe the first benchmarking tool where you can find benchmarks, broad benchmarks for all industries, or you can find really narrow benchmarks for industries. And the data is really accurate and updated in real time because when you join a group, you directly connect one of the integrations that the group is built around. So it's pulling data directly from the integration for all the groups. And basically the truth is in the data. It's always updated. So it updates each month. Yeah. So when you join a group, it's going to show you last month's data. Yeah. So that's what we've been doing.
Yeah, I think it's brilliant. So for the folks listening, so what drew us to this is that we specialize in the mental health industry, and we were trying to find good benchmarks for how do we know if we're being successful? How do we know if our CPL for our clients are good? How do we know what our click-through rate should be? And there's other companies like WordStream and a few others that HubSpot put out surveys. And so they put out benchmarks based on what people say. But for one thing, we couldn't find anything as niche as what we were looking for. So we came to Databox to actually create our own benchmarks for mental health. And that has been just a game changer for us to be able to see data on such a different level of, for instance, clients that we have in Florida versus clients that we have in Michigan. And being able to see that CPLs are very different regionally. So that's the kind of data that we could never get from somebody like a WordStream or HubSpot that's putting that out there. Those are those nuanced pieces that just make us a better partner. And it also helps our clients to know what they can expect. How much are they going to look at investing? What really makes sense for them? People that are listening and maybe they're not an agency, maybe they're a business owner, why should they benchmark? Why should they be a part of this? What are your thoughts on that?
It's always good to have an answer to the question of, is what I'm doing going well for me? Is this good performance I'm getting? What's possible? What should I improve? So all those questions get answered once you join a group. Because when you join a group, you connect your data source, and in a couple of minutes, you can directly see where you're in the group in terms of all the metrics. So you pick your top KPIs that you want to benchmark. You join a group that has those KPIs, and you're directly able to see where you stand, what's going well, what can be improved, and where's the limit. So even if the results you're getting are really good, you're performing better than 60, 70% of the group, there's still something above that can be achieved. So it helps you set goals for your future performance and something that you can strive towards too.
Yeah, I love that. So what are the types of benchmarking? So I know it's like for us, for example, we're using GA4, we're using Google Ads, we're using Facebook Ads. I think those, from what I've seen in other groups, those seem to be pretty standard. Do you have people doing other things, other areas besides that?
Yeah, you can also do sales benchmarking. So we have an integration with HubSpot, we have an integration with Salesforce, Pardot. You can also benchmark your financials. We have integrations with QuickBooks, Xero. So there's a lot of different areas where you can benchmark. We have 70 plus integrations which you can use to benchmark. The possibilities are almost endless.
Right.
Yeah.
So what's the most popular right now? Is it mainly marketing and then sales?
I would say probably marketing, because it's just easier to connect, and then sales, I would say, and then financials. People, even though the tool is anonymous, people are still concerned with sharing their financial information. So
yeah,
I would say marketing is the easiest one to just go and connect.
And are most people using it? So we're doing two different things. So we've joined multiple groups that are just overall data that we're getting, since we have clients outside of mental health too. Are most people using it the way we're using it with the mental health, where they're benchmarking niche or like industry, or is it just a mix across the board?
I think it's a mix, but it's always useful if you go in and compare it to a broad segment, like to all types of companies, and you're performing well, that's still a good indicator for a business, right? And then you may want to narrow down and go into your specific industry and companies relative to size of your business and they're generating the similar amount of revenue as your business. So you can really go broad or you can really go narrow. So I think both are
that's
really
what
useful.
I love too. I'm a data nerd, and that's what attracted me to marketing in the beginning. I came from a sales and sales management background.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know what your view of marketing was previously to being with Databox, but I always saw marketing as just nebulous. Being on the sales side, I felt I'm the one that's always responsible for the numbers. I'm always responsible for making the conversion or driving revenue. And I had a hard time always seeing how marketing went with that. I couldn't always track if our marketing really made a difference or not in the companies I worked for. And then when digital marketing came about, to me, it's the best of both worlds, because you've got the data side, you've got the numbers. Data doesn't lie. There's a lot of ways to interpret it, but it's, wow, I've got this hard foundational piece that I can look at. And what I've found over the years is that my opinion of what's going to work well is not always accurate. In fact, I'd say probably more not accurate than accurate. So data is amazing, because I'll think that ad is going to do really well. And then the data shows something totally different, right? The data shows people react to that. And so I just love it. I think it's fascinating. I don't know. Were you in marketing before you came into?
No, actually, I worked as a software engineer, believe it or not. Yeah. But I think that one thing in common with that role that I had is root cause analysis. So going into the weeds and just looking at numbers, I was looking at code. So we worked with checkouts and self-checkouts. We supported a software that goes onto self-scans and checkouts at a market shop, at a grocery store. So we looked at all the logs in a register, why the error came. So it's similar. So I'm using the same approach here, and I'm just going into the data and trying to interpret all of it. One thing also that's in common with that role is that I held meetings there. So I held weekly meetings with the customer, and I always had good communication skills. I wasn't aware of that, but the guys at Databox found out that I am, and then they promoted me to onboarding specialist, and then I came here. But no, I had no idea about marketing. I ran my small e-com business, did drop shipping a bit, and the only marketing I knew was writing comments on YouTube. That was the type of marketing that I did.
That was the marketing you were doing? Yeah. Which was really effective, though.
It was really effective, honestly, because it was an exploit, let's call it. Like, you could write comments on really popular videos, and then edit the comment a week later, plug in your link to your website, and then use bots to boost the comment to be the top comment on the video. And then you were getting free traffic, honestly, yeah. And it worked. I got some sales, and I ended up selling that website for, believe it or not, $400.
Did you?
It was just a pet project of mine.
Those are, I don't know. I have multiple pet projects on the side outside of Beacon. And actually, a lot of the marketers that I talk to are people that are in this field. They do that on purpose because you don't want to experiment necessarily on your clients, right? You want to experiment outside of that. And I'll often experiment on Beacon too.
Mm-hmm.
You just need to, sometimes the simplest thing can be the thing that actually drives or works. It's that simple connection. I'm not a big believer in hacks necessarily.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not against what we did. But to me, they're not like long-term sustainable.
No.
But every once in a while, you find something that is just that boost you need to get over the edge, and then you can do something a little bit more sustainable.
True.
So speaking of sustainable, how do you see clients that are really successful with benchmarks? How are they using them for their own businesses to drive revenue? Because I think we're going beyond even just the data. Like from what I'm seeing with Databox and benchmarks is that you guys have developed now this program of helping, like it's helping us already, but helping agencies and helping other companies to even use that data to then bring in new clients. So what's the pathway on that for people?
Yeah, we've helped them build their own benchmark group and then run a survey that's tied to the topic of the group or vice versa. And it's allowing them to gather their own data and then repurpose that data into their own content and to become a thought leader in this space. So far, I think we have around 60 partners that we ran this process with. And it not only allows you to create content, but it allows you to gain insights into industries, into topics related to the survey. So you're not only able to find out like how a typical company in that space performs, but you can, with the survey, you find out also what they do in terms of business strategy, in terms of their processes. So you're actually using all these tools to learn more about your target audience and to be able to help them better, to be able to become a knowledge base that these companies can go to and get help, get value out of it, not just using this process to get more clients, but actually delivering value to people for free. And that's what we're doing ourselves, because this is a free tool. So we're not charging anything to anyone for using it. It's completely out there for anyone to join, use, interpret their own data, benefit from it, get insights into what's going good, what can be improved, what's possible. So all these things are available for everyone.
So walk me through that process of how somebody then, so it's a survey that they send out, let's say for us, for our industry, mental health. It's a survey that we send out to other mental health providers, right? And then asking them to join the benchmarks, correct?
Let's say if you're running SEO for your clients, you can use a survey that talks about SEO and you can push it to your target audience. So let's say you want to interview mental health clinics, you will find out through the survey what a typical company in that space does in terms of SEO. And then with the benchmark group, you find out how they perform in terms of metrics, like performance metrics, their top KPIs. So you're able to draw conclusions between the two. Currently, in our tool, you can't combine the two, so you can't combine answers with performance, but we're trying to get there eventually. But it's still interesting to go in, like anyone that does go through the survey, they can get direct access to the results of it. Like when they complete it, they can instantly access the results and they can compare their answers to their peers. Something which is different to a lot of surveys because you participate in the survey and then you wait months for the report to be published.
But to be able to get the instant results of how am I doing, that makes a tremendous, I totally agree with that. It makes a tremendous difference.
So you can then directly compare your answers in terms of strategy and processes. And then the additional step is to connect your data to the group and compare performance. So you'll be able to get a benchmark on both processes and performance. So kind of covered it all, I guess.
I love that. I was going to tell you that being part of Databox and Benchmarks has really inspired me. It's inspired our executive team. One of the most difficult things in digital marketing that I have found, we're 12 years in at this point, and one of the most difficult things is really knowing if what you're doing is working. Is this successful? what should I be pulling the lever on? I made a post last week that there's dozens, if not 100 things that can go wrong. So how do you know what thing to focus on? Am I optimizing, let's say, the website conversions, or is that going well? And now I can focus on traffic, or I can focus on ads, or I can just, these are all questions that you have all the time. And then it's communicating to the client even what they should expect or what they should look for. So I really do believe benchmarks and Databox is what inspired us to create what are called Beacon standards. And that's what we're working on right now. We're going to be rolling them out next month, but we basically have every area of our company now that we've created a standard, a metric. So as a client comes in, very clearly we're saying to them, okay, this is where your conversion rate is on your website now. This is the traffic you're getting from Google Ads. This is the conversions you're getting now. These are the Beacon standards. And this is what basically we're promising that we're going to get to within a certain period of time to either meet or exceed those. And they're all standards that exceed the national averages. But to me, it's so exciting to have something concrete, something that people can look at and really be able to one, hold us accountable for, and we're holding ourselves accountable for it. But it's not this nebulous, we're just going to run some ads for you and everything's going to be great. I think this is the future, right? I think this is where we all need to go.
True. And we're just going to keep building the data set that we have. Currently, we have around 10,000 companies using benchmarks, but as more people and more join, the benchmarks will not only become more accurate, but we'll be able to build new sets of benchmarks, go even deeper into the data.
Yeah.
Look at this industry of this size, of this revenue range, this business type, like completely narrow it down as more and more companies join in. And we're probably going to be able to look at even locations in the future, but we just need more data. Yeah. That's where we are at now.
Yeah, I would encourage everyone. I mean, I know we're just about out of time here today, but I would encourage everyone to even just to take a look, see if this applies to them. I'm not sure who this wouldn't apply to. If you're a company and you're online or you're doing marketing of any sort or sales, which pretty much every business is, this is going to help you. This is going to give you some sort of data information. It's almost like that behind the scenes thing you're always looking for with your competitors. That's hard to get to. What are they doing that's working? What are you doing that's working? I can't see a negative to it, really. I'm excited to see it continue to grow.
Yeah, me too. It's going to definitely point you in a direction that you should go into deeper. So maybe it will point you, like, you have 0 conversions in Google Analytics 4. Maybe you didn't set them up, right? So then it will tell you, hey, you need to set up conversions. You need to track this number. Or in other integrations, the same case can be applied.
Yeah.
So it's definitely going to point you.
I'll finish with one story. We have a client that they're a startup. They've been around for 4 months now and really struggling to get them the conversions that they wanted right off the bat. And because we had the benchmarks, because we had enough data that we could compare against, we actually found out like they're in the top 1 or 2% of conversions coming off their website. So they were like, we were maximizing every possible thing that we could on their website to make people convert when they were coming in off of ads. But if I hadn't had that information, I would have kept putting effort there and not switched my effort into actually what they needed was to drive more people to the website. And I think that is the key, because the amount of time that I was spending continuing to work on something that actually wasn't a problem anymore, I needed to focus on the correct problem. And I'm not sure how I would have gotten that information if it weren't for benchmarks. I mean, that's what really was like the key to me understanding, okay, that's not the problem. Now I need to go over here. And yes, like when it came to their traffic and the amount of organic traffic they were getting, they're like in the bottom 10% for a business their size. So like when it's that different, then you know where your effort needs to go. So I just think it'll make us all better if people really do this, pay attention to it.
Yeah, there's no downside to it. No.
Yeah, just a little bit of time, but it saves you time.
Yeah, true. It doesn't really take a lot of time to go in. You just find a group, connect your data. It takes maybe 5 minutes to do. And first, you can explore for free. You can use Benchmark Explorer to just find metrics and look at benchmarks for free. You don't even need to sign up for a free account.
Yeah, so you don't even force people to do the whole trial thing at first, right? And then it's free anyway.
Yeah, there's no trial. You just sign up for a free account, find a group you want to join, and connect your data. That's it.
Yeah.
If you want to connect more than 3 data points, then you will be a candidate for a trial, but you can just go in and delete some of the data points and connect new ones. So
Got it.
You can stay for free forever.
I love it. We are at the end of our time today. Thank you so much, Fedor. That was really great info. I'm really excited to see. I believe people will go check it out from here. We'll add in a lot of the graphics and the links and everything on the podcast. So if you're interested in this, you'll be able to just link and find it right away and go to Benchmarks. And if you are in the mental health industry, please go to our mental health page. We'll send you a link for that too. And you can look at our benchmarks. You can see what we're doing with that, and then hopefully join and get access to the data directly. So thank you so much for your time.
My pleasure. Thank you for inviting me.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the BeaconWay. We hope you enjoyed it and had some good takeaways. Please subscribe so you don't miss a single episode. And if you've enjoyed the show, please give us some stars on your podcast channel of choice. For more information, tips, and notes from the show, check us out at beaconmm.com. For more information on how Beacon can help market your business, email us at welcome@beaconmm.com.